What is it? It's a system for dosing up on a dilute solution of water. Welcome to the bizarre world of homeopathy. Homeopathy was dreamed up in the late 18th century as a way of boosting the body's vital spirit. One of the central tenets handed down by its founder, Samuel Hahnemann, was that like cures like. Superficially, this might sound faintly plausible, but unlike a vaccine that introduces a diminished form of a virus into the body in order to provoke its immune system, like cures like makes the unfounded assumption that what causes similar symptoms can cure those symptoms. But amazingly, homeopathy gets even stranger still. Homeopaths claim that the more you dilute an active ingredient in water, the stronger medicine it becomes. Most homeopathic remedies are marked 30C. What does that mean? It means 1 part medicine to 100 to the power of 30 parts water. How much? A drop in a fish tank? No? A fish tank is nowhere near big enough. The swimming pool doesn't provide enough dilution. Not even a lake. What about a drop in the ocean? But it turns out that even the sea isn't big enough. For the really approved homeopathic recipes, in order to get 1 molecule of the active substance, you need to imbibe all the atoms in the solar system. To science, just doesn't make sense.
Homeopathy started over 200 years ago. It was started by a man named Hahnemann. I want you to know the 4 rules of homeopathy, each increasingly more embarrassing. The first one is that you do what they call a proving. The proving consists of taking a substance, we'll call it substance X, and you give it to a patient who is well, that is, to a person who is well. And in this proving, the patient develops these 3 symptoms. A, face gets very, very red, head swells up round like a balloon, and every 20 minutes he falls down on the ground a dead faint. Now those are symptoms you'd be likely to notice. I think you'll agree with that. So they write that down in the book. That's called the proving. That's the first rule of homeopathy. Second rule of homeopathy is, suppose you have a patient walk into the office, and the patient sits down and says, am I sick? And the homeopath looks at the patient and notices that the patient has head swollen up like a balloon that's bright red. And the homeopath says, every 20 minutes you fall down on the ground in a dead faint? And the patient looks and says, doctor, you're wonderful. Yes, I do. Wait a minute. You go through the book and you find out what caused that in a well patient, and then you give them that medicine and that reverses the effect. Don't look at me, it's their idea. And the people down there going, wow. And it's their idea, not mine. I'm just telling you what it's all about. Third rule of homeopathy says you don't do that. I told you they got sillier as they went along. Third rule of homeopathy says that you give them a highly diluted mixture of that substance. You haven't heard dilution until you hear this. Now, in homeopathy, to prepare a solution, you take 1 part of the substance and you put it in 10 parts of water, and then you success it. That would be called a 1 solution. They never use that. Far, far too strong. Now, what they do to prepare it is they take the substance, put it in the water, and then they success it. That means shake it up and down 10 times, sideways 10 times, and back and forth 10 times in 3 different dimensions, 10 times each. That's called succession. I call it shaking it. But I'm not scientific, so what do I know? That's a 1 solution. As I say, they never use that. Then they take 1 part of that solution and put it in 10 parts of water and chugga, chugga, chugga the whole thing all over again. And they get a 2 solution, 1 part in 100. You follow now? Then they repeat it 1 more time, 10 parts, and they get 1 in 1,000. But that's far, far, far too concentrated. No. They prefer dilutions of 1 in 10 to the 20th parts of water. That's 1 with 20 zeros after it. And the fourth rule of homeopathy, as if you weren't ready for it, the more dilute the medicine is, the stronger it is. I told you they get sillier as you go along. Guess how high they go, folks? They go up to 10 to the power of 1,500. He said that's equivalent to taking 1 grain of rice, that's 1, crushing it to a powder and dissolving it in a sphere of water the size of the solar system, with the sun at the center and the orbit of Pluto at the outside, and then repeating that process 2 billion times. Now, if that ain't dilute, I don't know what is.
Even homeopaths acknowledge that there is not a single molecule of active ingredient in the bottle they sell you. It's just water. So how can it possibly work? In an attempt to resolve the paradox, homeopathy boldly paddles further up the creek of pseudoscience, claiming that water somehow has a memory of the now completely absent active ingredient. But wouldn't water also have memory of other, more common impurities it's come into contact with? Salt, urine. In 2005, the medical journal The Lancet surveyed all the meta-analyses, the analyses of the analyses, and failed to find any reliable effect of homeopathy. Tellingly, for me, in the bigger trials, less prone to chance anomalies, homeopathy was more likely to show zero demonstrable effect. Because it's really all about attentive doctors spending time listening to the patient.
That one is stoned, but the right one is still a tiny bit puffy, isn't it? Or is it?
Well, it's always like that.
Then giving them something that makes them feel better, precisely because it's supposed to make them feel better. I think it's all down to the placebo effect.
But folks, sure, you can laugh at this. We all laugh at this. It's comical. It's juvenile. It's asinine. There's no other way to describe it. But these medicines are being sold in leading pharmacies today, pharmaceutical chains across the country. And just recently, just 3 or 4 days ago, they came up on the internet offering people who are worried about terrorist attacks homeopathic medicine that they say are antidotes for radiation poisoning, bubonic plague, smallpox, and anthrax. Now, if this isn't taking advantage of people's grief and their need for some sort of relief, I don't know how else you can determine it. I mean, you can't label it any other way. These are swindlers, liars, cheats, frauds, fakes, criminals. Come on, sue me. No, they won't sue me. They know damn well their case won't stand up in a court of law. It doesn't stand up in science at all. It falls apart.
With homeopathic medicines. Yeah. But you're not using conventional vaccines?
No.
For polio?
No.
Measles? Whooping cough? Pertussis? Some of those are very serious diseases.
Yeah.
When parents don't vaccinate their children conventionally, that you're taking a risk with your child giving them homeopathic medicines.
I think whatever the mother decides is their choice, and I've chosen to do it this way.
What are you taking?
Sleeping medication.
Yeah. How many of these pills are you going to take today? The whole thing?
Yeah, the whole thing.
It's been 20 minutes. Does anyone need to call a doctor? No.
I'm fine.
You're all feeling fine.
Yeah. It's unlikely that taking this whole bottle will hurt you. Where you're going to get injured is you take this instead of real medicine.
That's exactly what happened to a baby in Australia who died after her parents treated her skin condition solely with homeopathy. Both parents were recently jailed for manslaughter.